G'day folks, this is my 2 horsepower sundial engine. It is made by Massey Harris Proprietary Limited in Sunshine, Victoria. It's a 2 horsepower model, is it 1B? Sorry, Type B, 2 horsepower, 600 RPM throttle governed engine. It's been half restored and someone just hasn't got any further with it. I've got all the valve springs and things for it. The heads are still loose, so it's just half done. Somebody hasn't gotten around to finishing it. Missing the magneto, but I have a few that will work on it. I just need a magneto drive gear, which drives directly off that sprocket there, which is also the cam drive sprocket for the intake valve. So yeah, needs a little bit of bits and pieces and just finishing off really. Turns nice and free, but I want to take the head off and clean inside the cylinder first. I'm pretty sure they've done all the internals, but I'll just check all the bolt tensions and everything like that. Looks like they've got up to the stage of finishing off the head and the ignition gear. And the carburetor, of course, the carburetor's half finished in a plastic tub somewhere. And yeah, that needs a little more TLC. But it is a nice little engine. It's not too heavy. I can move it around easy enough. Not like the International that I had that required a pinch bar to move it around. It's had spiders living in it, but it's nice and clean. Looks like they put a new oil cup on the main bearing, or big end, I should say. Nice and clean. If it's not new, it's just very clean. Yeah, I suppose it isn't new. You can see the dings on the cap. They've just done a very good job of cleaning it all up and making it fit nice. And the big end's nicely shimmed. We'll check all the nut tensions and everything, but everything seems to be alright inside it. It's never been run since they started the restoration. They just haven't gotten around to finishing it. A little grease cup down there for the cam. I've checked that and that's alright. They're all oilers as well, wick feed oilers. Yeah, I'll take the cylinder head off and see what's going on under the cylinder head. Okay, well, it doesn't look like they got this far. There's a lot of rust and crap in there, unless it's come down through the exhaust. Yeah, it looks like it has. They haven't actually replaced the exhaust pipe. It's the same old one, it's just full of crap. Yeah, we'll need to re-lap and polish the valves and things. The bore itself, oh, it's nice actually. It's a really good bore. The head gasket is one of the really old style ones. I don't think I'd get another one of them anytime soon, so I'll try and clean all this grit and crap out as easily as I can. Yeah. Poor old spark plug's a bit dead. So I got another one of those. Well, another old style Lodge brand spark plug might do it. That's the inlet valve. Yeah, not too bad. I'll polish up nicely. Oh, hang on. A bit of pitting on the side. Looks like someone's hit it with something. Yeah, there's marks from somebody trying to break it free and they've actually damaged it a little bit, but not bad enough that it won't work. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Clean all the rest of the rust out of the exhaust for starters, and then yeah, remove all this other shite. But that bore, oh hang on, a little bit of rust down there, but feels like just minor surface rust. We'll just go a bit of a hone. Okay, well, it looks like they've done the opposite of what I normally do. They've started restoring it from the outside in, whereas I normally strip stuff down and start from the inside. So I don't think this piston's been out and cleaned in a long time. But thankfully I've got it out. I had to hone the bore to get it out because there was so much surface rust from just moisture and crap getting into it over the years. But yeah, looks pretty good. The rings aren't stuck. I mean, they're a bit average. I'm not going to make new rings for it, that's for sure. Especially with a piston the size of this bloody thing. For 2 horsepower, it's the size of a big WD-40 can. And yes, I do buy WD-40. I only use it for honing and, well, washing stuff. Do not use it as a lubricating spray. It is crap. Buy Inox. Inox should be a sponsor. Little bit of rust or corrosion discoloration on the crank journal main pin, but that's fine. It's not pitted as such. It's just a little bit of scoring. We can definitely live with that. I've seen way worse. Although the Kelly and Lewis KBD that I've tried to restore is badly pitted, so I'm not going to go with that one. Unfortunately, it's going to cost an absolute fortune to get that crankshaft repaired, so that engine might end up as a display piece as well. But this thing here, little baby gudgeon pin, giant piston. And of course we've got the top there, which is a little oil passageway at the top, normally connected to a glass oiler at the top, very top of the water hopper. Bearings are just a split white metal type with shims. Everything is as it came out. If the bearing's a bit loose, I can remove one of those very fine shims. Yeah, I'm just going to give this thing a good clean up and stuff it back in the hole. Isn't that the idea? Clean it up, stuff it back in the hole, see if it works. Well, that's a pretty impressive size piston for a 2 horsepower engine. I mean, it's only 2 horsepower, but it's at 600 RPM, not 5000 RPM like today's air-cooled engines are. And as far as crap on the piston goes, I'm going to get rid of anything abrasive, but with old engines, sometimes you're better off leaving a bit of soot and carbon build up on there, because it adds to compression and it also makes it easier to start, especially diesels. The biggest mistake I made with the Yanmar over there was to clean all the carbon off the top of the piston. I've seen so many articles since then saying people actually try to build up carbon on there so that it makes it easy to start and increases compression. And yeah, my mistake was actually cleaning it spotless and putting it back in. So sometimes you're better off leaving it as it is. In this case, there's abrasive dust and rust and crap all over the place, so I ain't leaving it as it is. But I'm not going to go to town on it and actually polish the crown of the piston or anything. Even though it's not a diesel, it still makes a difference. And yeah, the bore looks okay. There's just minor surface rust and probably a tiny bit down there just from moisture and shit getting into the system over the years. A little bit of water obviously pooled there for a while and rusted it. But yeah, this thing will run again, that's for sure. I've got enough magnetos floating around. I just need a drive gear and finish the carburetor. Everything else here I'll pretty much give a clean bill of health. I haven't found any cracks in anything. The piston looks good, the rings look good. Let's go from there. Well, I'm quite happy with that. Apart from a little bit of rust in the bottom of the bore, everything else has come up pretty good. Looks good. The ring gaps are pretty bad, but then again this thing's pretty old. I don't know when these were made, so either way it's fairly old. Number 5931. I wonder if that means 1959, number 31 to come off the production line that year. Don't know. But yeah, everything seems nice and tight. Well, not tight, but there's no play in the big end. I did remove one shim because it was a bit loose. It's something they never even touched. They never had the piston out. They've cleaned everything else up. But by the looks of it, they never bothered actually cleaning up or re-shimming the big end. It's still a little bit loose, but I don't want it tight. So one shim's come out, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Main bearings, again, you can sort of lift up on the flywheels and there's no real play, but they're still free running, so they're perfect. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what lengths they went to when restoring this, but they missed a few key points. The main one was cleaning up the bore and everything. They obviously left it to last and then gave up. Same with the exhaust. A lot of rust and crap's coming out of the exhaust and has ended up down in there. So valves are next, then the head goes back on. Might even remove this, I think. I'll remove it for now anyway. I don't want more rust falling down inside the intake. It should just spin off because it's a British standard pipe fitting. You can screw whatever BSP fitting you want onto that. It could be horizontal exhaust or vertical or facing down towards the ground. Whatever you want. These things are really universal. And I'll talk to my friend that I got it from and see about a new oiler. I want a nice shiny new brass oiler with a glass bowl on it. But yeah, not bad. And I can even take this whole little dunny bowl bend off as well. There's an upper nut on each of these bearing caps that you can remove without upsetting the bearing, and this whole piece comes off and turns it into an open crank. So it's both enclosed crank and open crank if you want it to be. The grease is coming through there, that's good. That's what that little grease cup on the inside there is for. So that's working well. Nothing like a bit of good old valve lapping on a Saturday night. The old diesel piston crowns make for nice little mixing pots too. My tube of lapping compound dried out pretty bad, so I'll just mix a bit up there with a bit of water and away we go. I've already done the course on both of them. I finished the exhaust valve, but just very carefully do the inlet valve. And don't forget to oil the valve stem very well before you use a power drill or anything like that. Even if you're doing it by hand, just oil the valve stem very well. You don't want it to start binding up and cause problems. Okay, just finished cleaning up and relapping the valves, and time to reinstall some springs and things. I'm missing one of the collet retainers for the intake, but the exhaust one was there. Well, I assume it's exhaust, there's one up two. Best part is, even though they look oxidised, these springs and collars are brand new, which is absolutely brilliant. Somebody already bought them for me. Fantastic. Same with, I think, the fuel needle. No, it's just been cleaned up. It's not new, but someone spent an awful lot of time on that. They just haven't finished the body. Carburetor body needs a good clean up, but yeah, the worst part is, I don't think that's part of this engine at all. I was going over this before with the guy I got it from. That's part of the engine, and so is that. That's the throttle valve. So it's snapped off. It looks like they used part of an old, say, an automotive carburetor throttle butterfly lever, and they made their own. But it hasn't lasted long enough. It's just snapped off. So I think that's going to be the trickiest part, apart from the magneto. The rest of this is pretty straightforward. So yeah, I don't think that's part of it. There's nowhere for this to go on this engine at all. It's all bent and mangled too. So it was in there, but I don't think it's part of it. But unfortunately there's no other collet. Just this piece of spring or whatever it is. It looks like they've been using that to retain one of the valves on the old valve assembly, but not on the new one. So I'll raid one of my old engines or something like that and see if I can find a little slip-on collet, retaining collet. I know I've got something like that floating around here somewhere. I definitely will. Okay, I'd say that's enough for tonight. I have the exhaust cam and push rod working alright, or follower, whatever you like to call it. Valves and everything are working well. Head's back on. Sealed the head gasket with some aluminum paint, and got a nice vintage 3-point Lodge spark plug in there. I can find the model number. It's a Lodge CB13 or something. Yeah. Just got to sort out magneto and carburetor, and apart from that, oh, and an oiler, this thing is ready to go. Doing pretty good. Good compression. Obviously a bit of blow by because the rings are worn, but yeah. It'll work just fine. Just got to find a magneto to fit that. I believe a Bosch or a Lucas, maybe an LS1 or a Bosch similar style single cylinder magneto will do. I should have one that will work. I've got the Bosch one which were fitted to these at one point. If not, I'll pillage the Lucas LS1 off the Howard rotary engine. Well, rotary hoe engine. It's a reciprocating engine, but it's off a rotary hoe. And yeah, I'm probably going to end up parting that out anyway since no one wants it. I'll remove the engine from the gearbox assembly and probably get rid of the gearbox separately, and yeah, just pillage it for parts. So that'll be my first choice, is the Lucas off that one.